Hello and good morning to this webinar of the University College of Twente, the Atlas program. My name is Pascal Wielhelm. I'm a social science lecturer in this program. And this here is Pleun Kuipers, who is currently, I think, second year student, right? Second year student in our program. So what do we have for you today? We have 1 hour of a program about UCT, University College Twente. First, there will be a presentation about the content of the program, all the ins and outs. We have a small movie for you about how it is to be a student for a day. And we have a talk by two of our students about our study association, Atlantis. That's what we're going to do. We have certain house rules here. That means we cannot see or even hear you, but you can put your questions in the chat. And your questions will either be answered directly by one of our associates here in the room, or when the question also could be valuable to others, it might be transferred to the end of this session, and we will answer the questions just in the setting we are in right now. So I hope that is clear. By subscribing to this webinar, you also agreed that it will be recorded, and we can then use it for anyone for whom it was too early to attend to this webinar. It's now 10 a.m. here in the Netherlands, and we are about to start this webinar. So let's first move to a small presentation. So what is this program actually about? So we have to make a little switch here. Okay. Okay, well, this is a presentation about University College Twente, which is a small program part of the University of Twente in the Netherlands. And our program is called Technology and Liberal Arts and Sciences. In short, it's Atlas. And you can see that the first A is actually mute. Could mean amazing or awful. It's all up to you. But Atlas is the program that we call it. So on the next slide, you will see that we are on the next slide, please. Yes. We have some technical things here. Okay, thank you very much. So this is actually a picture of our building, actually part of it. You can see where we are located here in the Netherlands. You can also see that we are pretty proud of our program because almost year after year since we started, we were awarded with a top-rated program symbol, which is kind of something to be proud of. And there are more university colleges in the Netherlands, but we are the only one that is in a technical university. So that's why the word technology is there. And our motto is that we want to educate new engineers for a resilient world. So the new engineer, that is what you will become when you do this program. So let's move on to the next slide, please. So UCT, so University College Twente, Atlas program, is part of the University of Twente in the Netherlands. I think it's one of the only universities in the Netherlands with a real, let's say, American style campus. So you pretty much have everything you need right here: housing, sports associations, study and student associations, and well, basically everything you need to have a life as a student. And it's also, you can see the surroundings are beautiful and green. And more on our study association later on in this program. So if we now move on to the next slide, you can see some highlights of our program. So can you maybe move one of the well, doesn't really matter. Well, I can only see part of the presentation here. So what is important to say about this program is that it is residential, meaning that you, as a student, you come to live in our premises. So we have a building here that also used to be an old hotel. So we have your hotel rooms upstairs, and you will become part, thank you, of an international community. So we typically have students from the Netherlands, around 50%, but also students from all over the world, from Australia, from India, from the United States. So in this residential college will become part of an international community. And we think that in order to become a new engineer, you have to be able to work on real world problems. So we'll also introduce real world problems into our program. We have a semester-based program, and every semester you work on a real world problem, and that's all project-based. That means that our education is mostly project-based. We are a small program, and we also think that it's important because size really does matter. If you are a small program, it's easier to interact with each other, and it's also easier for teachers to get to know you, for example. So we have 55 rooms upstairs here for our first years, and 55 students. That's what we want to get. We're also an honors program. That means that we expect something from you. We have certain entry requirements that are, well, pretty high, and we also think that there should be a reason for you to be here. The reason being that you want to excel in your studies. So, and what is also special about this program is our educational approach, which is fully based on what we call self-directed learning. And it pretty much means that you are behind the steering wheel of your own education, and you can become the new engineer that you want to be. So let's move on to our next slide and see what's there. See what's there. Getting some assistance here. Yeah, so when we started this program, we thought, how would this program be different from other engineering programs? So what is this new engineer? Well, we have created 5 core values, which are also depicted here. And that sets the new engineer apart from other engineers in other engineering programs. The one thing is that we believe that a new engineer should be able to work in an interdisciplinary fashion. So this person should be knowledgeable of, for example, not only math or natural science, but also social science. We also believe that a new engineer should create a mindset of lifelong learning. So he or she should be able to steer their own learning, not only during their studies, but also after their studies. So that means that there's a focus on self-directed learning. Another thing that we value is personal development, because the Atlas program is also based on liberal arts and sciences principles, which means that we really want to have a focus on your development, how you want to develop, and what kind of new engineer that you want to be. Another thing that we value is community. So I already said we have a small program. We want to like to keep it small, and we want to create this community feeling. But we also think it's important to learn how to work with for a community. So therefore, the core value of community is there. And last but not least, I mean, we think that new engineers who are there to solve the problems of the future should be able to trailblaze, meaning that they should be able to think of the kind of solutions and mitigations for grand challenges that are really new and really, let's say, innovative, and not only walk, the known paths to certain solutions, but also be able to trailblaze. So interdisciplinarity, self-directed learning, personal development, community, and trailblazing. That is what our program is about. Okay, so but what does our program look like? Well, we have a semester-based program. And so 6 semesters is a 3-year bachelor program. And at the end, you will receive a Bachelor of Science diploma. Every semester contains a project, a big project, because our program is project-based. And every project also has a theme. As you can see in semester 1, it's all about health and well-being. So, for example, you will be working on solving a problem for someone who has some issues with their health, for example. And if you, for example, look at semester 2, you're working on a project related to sustainable cities and communities. So every semester has a theme that is related to the project, but also every semester has certain courses. And when you look at the next slide, you can see how that works. So down below here, you see that In the blue, you see that the projects and domain courses. Domain courses are courses that we give as teachers, and they relate to social science, to math, to natural science. And for example, there's a course on behavioral science and technology. There's a course on fluids and heat, so thermodynamics. And there's also multiple math courses. But as you can see from this slide, the elective space, so the space in the program that is be filled by you, becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And there you have the opportunity to sort of shape your own program and become the new engineer that you want to be. At the end of the program, in the last year, in semester 5, we sort of expect you to go abroad. Or if you're already abroad here, you can also stay here, of course, and pursue your education in, well, a different program. And many of our students go abroad, for example, to Tokyo or to Melbourne, or to some place into London, for example, to pursue their education there. And in semester 6, you write your thesis or your capstone, as we call it. Well, okay, I think I have to speed up here because the time is ticking. So just to summarize, we have 6 semesters leading up to a Bachelor of Science diploma. And as you can see here, there at the start, I mean, most of the program is filled, let's say, by us, by the teachers of Atlas. But along the way, you get more and more the opportunity sort of to shape your own program and to become the new engineer you want to be. So now I'm ready to go to the next slide. So yeah, what does it mean to be in the lead, to be behind the steering wheel of your own education? How does it mean to take control? Well, basically, every semester has certain goals for you to reach. So we are let's say, a goal-focused program. So there are 4 to 5 goals each semester to be attained. They apply to everyone, to every student. But the trick is that you can reach those goals in your own way, eventually, meaning that you can shape your own your curriculum. And in order to do that, you first write, at the start of each semester, you write a personal development plan. And in that plan, you explain to us how you intend to reach the semester goals. And that plan needs approval because basically it's your exam program. Well, halfway the semester, we ask you how you're doing with your semester goal attainment. And it starts from self-evaluation, meaning that you start with assessing yourself. And we see if we can agree with that. And afterwards, so at the end of the semester, you do a self-evaluation and reflection. And it means that you basically explain to us if you think you managed to attain the goals, and reflect on your learning. And it's a cycle that is there every semester. And in doing that, you will sort of learn how it is to take control of your own learning. Making choices is hard, so that means you have to you need support, and there is a very strong supportive community here of teachers and students who can help you let's say, translate what you want to do, your aspirations, in curricular choices. So don't worry about it too much, you'll get there. On the next slide, this is a special part of our program called the Personal Pursuit. It's 10% of the curriculum, 6 study credits each year, European credits. And there you are allowed to follow, just to create your own course on any passion or interest that you have. And here you see one of our students, Peter van der Wal, was interested in, how the Romans did their warfare. So he built an onager, which is like a catapult, in order to learn how the Romans were able to design such a thing. Well, on the next slide, you will see something that we also highly value. So in the projects that we do, we also want you to connect to real world situations. So in one of our projects in semester 2, we had students working what we call a hyperloop, which is like a vacuum train. So it runs in a tube that you see on this screen. And why don't you just go there? Yeah, go to a company that works on this system. So that's what we feel important. So real problems and real stakeholders. So, but you might wonder, what can you do after Atlas? So on the next slide, you see an overview of the kind of master programs that our students manage to get into. And as you can see, it's a wide array of many different programs you can get into. Because of the ability to create your own program, you can also prepare for these master programs. And this list is not even complete. We also have students going into neuroscience or psychology, for example, and they go all over the world. On the next slide, you can see that our students like to travel. So they typically take their masters, anywhere in Europe or even the rest of the world. So what about job careers then? So on this next slide, you see also a similar a picture that you saw before in the kind of work fields that our students ended up into. So as you can see, with a very open program that allows you to shape your own education, you actually are able to enter the job market in many, many, many different ways. So what does it mean to, for example, to become a student here? So on the next slide, you see a beautiful picture of our building. And as I said, it used to be an old conference hotel, enabling us to build student rooms. And we want you to live here for your first year. That's to create this community. And of course, if you don't like it, or if you want to live someplace else, from your second year on, you can move to other buildings on the campus, or even go into the city of Enschede or Hengelo. And so there is housing for you available. So you don't have to look for a room if you come to our program. There's some information here about the housing, but I leave it with that. So how do you get in this program? So on the next slide, you see our entry requirements. Because we are a program focused on technology, we want you to be ready for that. So that means that we ask for a relatively high proficiency in mathematics and physics or geometry. And we typically want to have the students that are the best in their classes. It's an English taught program. So here you can see what we require for that. And I want you to know that for the non-EA, for students, so students that need a visa, there is a admission deadline of the 1st of May. So be quick. You have 2 more weeks to go for that. Okay, so what could be reasons to choose for this program? So on the next slide, you will see an overview of what I think would be reasons why this program would be for you. So if you're excited about the idea to create your own curriculum, and if you're really motivated to make a change in the world, and if you're a bit smart and curious and you're interested in collaboration, because you will be working together with your fellow students at many, many occasions, then I think this is really a program for you. So be welcome here at University College Twente, the Atlas program. Now, I think it's time to have our interview plan. Why not? Because of course I can tell you a beautiful story about this program, but you can learn a lot from stories about other students. So do you remember what were for you were reasons to choose for this program?
Yeah, definitely. I found it very difficult after high school to choose one direction that I really wanted to go in.
Mm-hmm.
So I started looking for more interdisciplinary things and looked at some of the other university colleges in the Netherlands. But those weren't technical enough for me. And I really also liked the more technical courses. So then Atlas really seemed like the perfect opportunity.
The perfect fit, yeah. So it was difficult for you to, let's say, pick a specific program after high school, and you want to maybe extend your choice a little bit.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. And that's what then. And did you have any, let's say, long-term aspirations when you started this program? Ideas about making the world a better place, or?
Yeah, I've always been interested in like sustainability and environmental science. And I think I will also pursue that further after Atlas. But I didn't have that in mind when I chose for the program yet.
No. Just to be clear, you don't already have to know what you want.
No, absolutely.
Absolutely not. If you enter this program, I mean, the program allows you to sort of explore your interests, right?
Exactly.
And then make your choice. And most students are pretty well capable to do that in the end. Yeah. But I mean, so you're interested in sustainability and environmental issues. So how then did that? What kind of courses then that you take in your elective space in order to work on your interests?
Yeah, so within the UT, you have quite some sustainable energy programs and courses that you can take. But I also took courses more into design and large industrial manufacturing, because I also found it really interesting. And the connection with environmental stuff wasn't in those courses very specifically, but I could make it myself with the background that I have from Atlas.
Okay.
And also in the semester projects, I did a lot of research to the sustainability aspects of the systems that we're.
So the setup of the system allows you to pursue those interests in many different ways.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But how does it work? Because we're now at the University of Twente. And when you pick your own courses in the elective space, you sort of sit in with other classes, right?
Yes.
So how does it work for you to become part of a different community of other students?
Yeah, it's always interesting because especially when you just start taking electives, you have to go to another building.
Yeah.
And often the classes are much bigger. But I think it's also very interesting to interact with other students, and they have a lot more like domain knowledge on the courses that you're taking.
How does it work? Because then you're not as knowledgeable as they are when you start the course, right?
Not in the specifics of that course.
No.
That's a difference that you have. But I think Atlas students generally know like the tactics to make sure that
make it work for them.
To make it work for them, yes.
Yeah. So what courses can you take here at the UT?
You can take any courses that they give.
Yeah.
Pretty much. If the teacher that is teaching the course agrees, you can take it. Also master's courses. I'm taking 2 master courses this semester.
So as a bachelor student, you're also allowed to take master courses?
Yes.
Wow. But it means you're already working on a much higher level than you're currently in.
Yeah, and that's, I think, also the honors part of Atlas that comes in.
Yeah, I think that's what I meant when I said, we expect something of you. So we expect you to know how to learn, and we also allow you to sort of, to take any course you want, also master courses. And what about, when you want to take a specific course on a specific topic, but you can find it here? It's possible, right?
Yeah, it is possible. I know friends of mine are taking courses in other universities, like Utrecht, for example.
Here in the Netherlands.
Here in the Netherlands. Yeah, I don't think we have people going to Germany.
Well, and maybe in semester 5.
Oh yeah, in semester 5 you can go abroad, of course. That's also what I will do. I will go to Portugal to also do environmental engineering there.
Portugal, what city? Which city in Portugal?
Aveiro.
Ah, okay, cool. I love Portugal. Oh.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for that as well.
Okay, so it means that if you are interested in a certain topic and there are no courses that fit to that at this university, you can go looking at other universities in the Netherlands.
Yeah, or for your semester abroad, even all over the world.
Yeah, and for your information, so Dutch universities work together, and that allows students that study at this university also to take courses at other universities.
Yes.
For example, in Delft or in Amsterdam or Groningen in the north, whatever. Yeah, that's cool. So let's look at this posting here. So this sort of reflects our core values. So I want to ask you about this community core value. So how is it, let's say, how do you experience that core value while being a student in this program? Could you maybe elaborate on that?
Yeah, so you already touched upon that the first years all live together in the building. And I think that's very nice. I found that a really nice experience because it's...
So to live upstairs.
Because it's really a very nice opportunity to get to know everyone in your year very well. And also really quickly. Where I've also seen with friends at other programs that's more difficult. And it really helps that you can go to upper years or to teachers if you have any questions, and everyone is willing to help. And you're also allowed to be more vulnerable, and people will step in to help you as best as they can.
Yeah. And is the community only about students?
Oh no, the teachers are also involved.
Oh yeah.
We also with the and staff. with some of the committees of the study association. More about that later. We also sometimes organize activities together with the teachers. And I think also the personal bond between students and teachers is a very important part.
Yeah, of course.
That I also really appreciate within the program.
Of course, I already knew the answer to this question. From my side, it's, being a teacher in Atlas is, well, it's a bit different compared to my earlier experiences when I was more in a traditional program. So it's the small scale helps, of course, but also we sort of we design our building in such a way that it's easy to interact with each other.
Yeah.
We don't have our own rooms, for example, so we work together with our students, sometimes even in the same rooms. So it's very easy to sort of connect to a teacher,
Definitely.
ask a question, if you're stuck with something, for example. And it's I think I'm also a member. I'm sure I'm also a member even of the student association.
Yeah,
so I really feel, and we also think that it's important also to involve students as much as possible in whatever we do.
Yeah.
So if we, for example, wonder whether we should take a certain direction in a program or introduce a new rule, for example, for something, then we also always ask students, so what do you think? Is it a good idea? Mm-hmm. So that makes this a very interesting environment also for me to work in as a teacher. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So this personal development thing. So how do you experience that in this program?
I think, of course, with the whole setting up of your own semester and the electives that you want to take, that's already a big part of personal development. But I think a large part of it also happens unconsciously. Yeah. Because you work together a lot and you are really being challenged like constantly. So
constantly.
Well, not constantly, but there's a lot of opportunities to challenge yourself and to develop yourself.
Yeah.
So like, for example, with presenting, that was something that in the beginning I was quite scared to do.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was in your class as well.
Could be, yeah.
And I've really, gotten a lot better with that just by practicing. And it's also like a safe environment to try things out.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And you greatly improved. Yeah. So what do you do besides studying? So could you maybe elaborate a bit on your student life?
Yes. So I'm part of a sports association, dancing association. So that's
okay.
Yeah, that's fun. It's also something new I started when I came here.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunities to do a lot of fun sports. But I'm also part of the study association and certain committees like Educo, which is the educational committee, which gives feedback from students to the program.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is highly appreciated, by the way.
Yeah, and that's also, I think that's really fun to do and something I also learn a lot from, and a lot of professional skills as well. But also other activities like I'm organizing the Batavia race.
Okay, that's a relay race, right?
Yes, a relay race. It's very big
One
in the
of the biggest
Netherlands.
in Europe, I believe.
I think it's the biggest student relay race in Europe.
Wow, yeah. It starts in Nijmegen and ends here in Enschede.
It's been around for like 50 years or something.
Yeah, one of the biggest student parties.
Oh yeah,
in the Netherlands.
And everyone's camping on campus. It's really fun.
Okay, so I will be talking to more students in the course of this session, and I believe we now need to switch to a small video that we prepared, and it sort of gives you like a small, let's say, look into what it's like to be a student in this program. So please, let's move on to the movie.
Well, hello to everyone. I hope you're having a good morning. And I would like to introduce myself as Josefina. And here we also have Tijo. And as you saw in the little pics of the videos, and as Glenn has mentioned, we're here to explain a bit more about associations. So maybe, Tijo, could you explain what is an association here on campus?
Yeah, of course. So next to studying here during your student time, you of course want to have fun. And we have a lot of opportunities for that. We generally classify our associations into 4 groups. It's study, student, sports, and culture. And these groups basically get together to work towards a common goal or to do something they are all interested in. So study is what we are part of, Atlantis, which we'll explain later. Student is basically any association that doesn't fall into any of the other categories. So that could be, for example, focusing on partying and going out, but it could also be world association or focus on entrepreneurship. Sports are, I think, pretty self-explanatory. You focus on the sport you want to do. And culture association or anything related to the arts or dancing, for example, it also fits in both of those. Then for us, well, we're Atlantis.
Yeah, could you maybe explain what a study association means?
Yeah. So every program here on our university is connected to a study association. And our study association, Atlantis, is connected to UCT, which means that we, next to all the fun activities we organize, we also try to work together with our teaching staff to improve our education.
Okay, and what can, as a first year student, what can this association provide me? Like what kind of opportunities can it give?
Yeah, so a lot, actually. First of all, there's a lot of social opportunities. One of our core values, as Pascal has mentioned before, is community. And I think we contribute a lot to that, where we go to a lot of events, we spend a lot of time together, we go to our common room called the aquarium, and we just sit around and have fun. We organize a lot of events, our members, mostly done by our committees. But there's also a lot of professional opportunities. We have lunch lectures that invite companies or experts to talk to us. We go to like certain places such as like museums to get to know more knowledge about certain aspects. We have sort of like TED Talks sometimes with some of our students or staff. So yeah, a lot.
Okay. And if I was a student that I would like to be more active and participate more, maybe could you explain what kind of committees we have?
So the easiest way indeed to do this is through committees, which is kind of like a smaller association within our association. So you work towards something that you're really interested in or you want to know more about. So as Plano has already said before, we have our educational committees, which focus on improving our education, communicating with teachers to try to get the most out of your years here. But you also have other committees, such as the study trip committee that organizes our yearly study trip, or a yearbook committee that, well, makes our yearbook. You have activity organizing committees, such as our activity committee or our arts committee that focus a lot on these social events mentioned before. Just a lot of fun in general.
Okay, that's good. Could you maybe explain more into one committee itself that you did yourself?
Yeah, so I think one committee that I've been active in for a lot of years is the Kick-In committee, which organizes the introduction week here at UT. You mostly focus on the faculty-related Kick-In, meaning the 3 days that you spend with all of your students. We go to a certain location, for example, we have a fun time there, we do a lot of different events, and you, as part of the committee, are responsible for organizing that for all the incoming first years. Now, next to that being a logistical challenge and learning a lot from it, I find it super fun to meet all the incoming first years way earlier than anyone else has a chance to.
Okay, you mentioned the Kick-In. Maybe you could explain more about what that is.
Yeah,
for everyone else.
Of course. The Kick-In is basically, I think, 10 days, so 2 weeks before your first academic week, where you get introduced to campus and have a lot of fun activities. So you are part of a group called a Do Group, where you spend together with like-minded individuals just to have a fun time. You have some days to focus on sports and cultural activities. You go to certain locations in the city, you get kind of familiar with some of our systems here, such as Canvas and Osiris, which you use in your studying time. But I think most people that come here do it to already get that community feeling and then basically kick off your studying time on a good note.
Okay, that's good to know for everyone at home. And maybe going back a bit more to the association part, what is something that you really like about the association? Something that you want to continue, or
Yeah. Well, as said before, one of our core values is community, and I think it's super important to work together with the people that you're close to towards something that you're interested in. And I think Atlantis really helps in that. In your future career, you're probably working with a very wide range of people that you might not know, have different cultural backgrounds, etc. And I think this is a very good way to get accustomed to that in play, basically. You are just friends here, everyone lives together, and it's just a great time.
Okay. And I'm just curious, how do you know so much about this association?
Well, if you've been part of the association for not about a year, and you find yourself wanting to do even more or to learn even more than a committee might offer you, you might choose to join the executive board of the association. And there's a whole application procedure I won't go into here, but that's basically what I did after some time. I'm currently the secretary of the association, meaning that I do a lot in the background of organizing this whole association, and I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, I think you do a very good job. We are both part of the executive board, and we really love the association and build this community together. Maybe we can talk about the sport associations, because I heard there's a lot of them.
There is a lot of them. I believe sports and culture combined at this point almost match like 150. The sports that get introduced get crazy every year. I think there's the Quidditch Association, underwater hockey. I think technically the beer chugging association is considered a sports association.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm personally part of Dinero, which is our football association, and Harambe, which is our volleyball association, which I think also highlights how much a student can do next to their studying, because I also do culture associations next to that. I was part, maybe I should say, of the choir association New Zealand. But a bit more maybe on the volleyball one, because that's the one I'm currently doing the most in. Yeah, Harambe is a very fun, low-key volleyball association where you can just unwind, have a good time, and it's basically for complete beginners. There are mixed teams which are very low level, and then you just have the regional teams which basically compete in the Nabobo competition. Yeah, they also have some yearly tournaments which I really enjoy. We had the Harambex a little while ago, which is basically a couple of days of playing volleyball against teams whilst partying and in full costume, which is always super cool to see.
Well, that's amazing. I think something very important that for me was surprising when I arrived to the Netherlands is that all these associations are run by students, are completely voluntarily. I will be, hey, can I talk to an adult? And it will be, no, I mean, we're all adults here, we're all running this association. So I think everyone that joins the associations also wants to strive for learning these opportunities, learning how to run or just be part of such an association. So I just thought that was amazing once I joined.
Yeah, student activism in Enschede here is really high. Also, most definitely within UCT.
Yeah.
I think that's also most exemplified by basically our supervising governing body, the student union, which organizing all these associations like as an umbrella above, and within like power within the association, we actually on par with the executive board of the university.
Yeah. I think this is amazing, and
yeah, I think it's really
surprising
cool.
and nothing that I would have expected for. Yeah. So right now we're gonna welcome Pascal into the screen and hopefully answer some of your questions together.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Welcome back.
I mean, Atlantis is such a great organization, especially your role in the onboarding of first years. I mean, year after year, you manage to sort of make them feel welcome and integrate them in the many communities that you have, and I think that's great to see. It's really I also see it on their faces that they're happy that there are people that are welcoming them. So that's great. So I promised that some of the questions in the chat will be addressed in this scene, because they could also be of value, the answers to the question of to others. So I'm now looking at my colleague here on my right. So is there a question that we can address here?
I think a question that's nice to address a bit more is what is the difference between more traditional programs, like for example mechanical engineering here, and an Atlas program?
Okay, so the question is, thank you to one of the question asker, what is the difference between the more traditional program and the Atlas program? Well, maybe I can ask you, what do you think the differences are?
So, of course, I've only done Atlas, so I can only assume. But I have taken courses in different programs, and from what I get there and from talking to those students is that their full program is focused on their end goal. They want to become, in this example, a mechanical engineer. They want to become someone who works in technical medicine. And that's great. If that's what you want, by all means, go for it.
Yeah.
You know what you want, you know how to get there, and this is the bachelor you need to continue. But if you find yourself not being completely sure, or you want to work in a more connecting setting, so you bridge the gap between different disciplines, for example, as a team leader or a coordinator or working in government, for example, then Atlas has a lot of soft skills that really help you in furthering your professional life.
Okay, yeah, I also see that difference. Any other differences that you see?
Yeah, for me, I did follow industrial engineering and management my first year here on campus, and then I switched to Atlas, so I can really see the differences. And I completely agree with Tycho, how Atlas is also allow you to connect different domains. So, for example, I don't know, if I was interested in more the political side and the environmental, then I can choose my electives to shape this profile for me. And I think that it's also very important to mention the small scale, the more personal with teachers. That for me was a very big change, because I will be in a lecture room with 300 people, not knowing their names, and just listening to the teacher go on and on. Well, here it's a more ping pong conversation with the teachers and being more involved in the lecture.
Yeah, I think you both touched upon the difference that I also would mention in response to this question. So on the one hand, if you want to become a mechanical engineer, perfectly fine. And there's a set of courses for you to do, but it's all fixed. So, and here you have the opportunity to sort of to pick courses and to sort of create your own, your own program. Because sometimes you might think you know what you want from the start, but when you start doing it, it might be like, okay, is it? Maybe I want to do something else. And then Atlas, there's space for you to sort of move into a different direction and scale. I think that's also because you want to remain small. And if you are with 300 students, it could be very great to be there. But the scale also allows for us to interact on a more, even on a daily basis, even. I might remember from yesterday what you were working on and ask you the same day, how is it going? And I think that's also matters. So how I always explain it for a more educational side is our program is goal focused. So there are goals for you to reach that you can reach in many different ways. And more traditional programs are more course focused. So certain courses for you to take. So I hope this answered your question. Thank you, question asker. And I hope it also be informative for the others. So to my assistants. So what other questions are there?
There are some questions about information on tuition, scholarship, health insurance, and the postgraduate work permit. I think this is more related to international students. So maybe Fina, how did you experience all these things, and are there resources available?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the information that you need is on the website, but I didn't find it very complicated. For example, I also started working here, and then I get a subsidy from the government to pay my health insurance, which is very great. I think.
Yeah, I think it's good to know that the University of Twente is also a very international university. So we are used to, receiving students from abroad. It also means that we learned over time what their pressing concerns are, what they need in order to be able to work, for example. And there are, our own student affairs office can help here, but also multiple other offices that can assist you in having a life here in the Netherlands at the University of Twente as a foreign student. So yeah, there's ample information on that available, I think.
So on our study association side, we can really help with that.
Yeah.
There's usually one of the board members that is responsible for helping students integrate. They call it internationalization.
Yeah.
I did that this year. So if you were here this year, then I would have helped you with any issues you may have. We've seen some very, very weird stuff throughout the years. So don't worry about approaching any of the students.
No. And I even believe that there are also student association with students with a similar background, right? So
they're called the World Association.
World Associations. Yeah.
So I've only been to one because, like, heritage-wise, I have some roots in Indonesian culture.
Okay.
And it's really, really nice to see, because it's for them it's like somewhat of a foreign environment, right?
Yeah.
And all of them come there to kind of experience or share their experiences with this new Dutch culture, but also to kind of still revel in their own culture.
Great.
Which is really cool to see.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that's the, I think, the advantage of having a large international community. You can also, find people with the same background, and it usually helps, to discuss in your own language how it is to be a student here and how funny the Dutch are, or how bad they are. Okay, let's move on.
Yes, so we also have some questions about electives, like what electives are there available, and also if there's education in computer science within Atlas, but also within the UT.
Well, talking about electives, so electives are basic courses you can take. That we call them electives. And as Pleun already explained earlier, I mean, you can take any course here at the UT. So that ranges from courses in computer science to courses in mechanical engineering, to courses in psychology, to courses in political science. There's so much. And if you can find what you need here, you can also go to other universities in the Netherlands. And yes, we have a very big computer science department and computer science program. And actually, there are quite a few Atlas students who move into that direction: data science, machine learning, and so forth, and do for example, their thesis that we call capstone project in computer science, and then move on to pursue a master in computer science. So in computer science, yes.
Plenty of stuff in
plenty of computer science here. Yeah.
Then another question is, during weekends in general, are students staying on campus? Are the facilities open during the weekends? Is the campus open?
So the question is, what happens over the weekends? So what happens in your weekends?
Well, me personally, I don't live on campus, but I go every Saturday to the market, which is a little food, everything market in the city center when I do my groceries for the rest of the week. I do know the campus is completely open throughout the entire week. Everyone can just walk in. It's beautiful as well. It's completely green facilities. There's also supermarkets that are all open for you to do groceries there. But yeah, I think people also there's a lot of stuff to do in the city itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
yeah. I think Enschede has been one of the most popular student cities in the Netherlands, so it's great.
Yeah, it's taken over.
Yeah. What do you do in the weekends?
So I do live on campus. So I would say that for Dutch students, it's a bit more common to go back to their parents in certain weekends. So that I do about once a month. But in the weekends I do stay here. I just spend time with friends. Sometimes I catch up on a bit of work if necessary, but I try to avoid that.
Yeah.
And I just basically do what I would do in high school too. Just spend time with friends.
Yeah.
Have a drink together.
Chill. Yeah.
Play some board games, whatever. Play some sports.
Yeah. But indeed, I mean, if the campus is still open, I mean, it's not that the supermarket closes. So
it closes a bit earlier.
A bit earlier, maybe. But can still have a life on campus.
But generally, international students do stay on campus unless they have a day trip to another Dutch city or
that's also very
German
nice.
city.
Okay.
Traveling throughout the weekend. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. We have 1 minute to go, and maybe one time for one last question, Pleun.
Yeah, Elena is still typing, but we have also a question from Maria. Do students live on campus for all 3 years or only during the first year?
Okay, so the question is, do students live on the campus for the whole 3 years or just the first year? Well, I think that's optional, right?
Yeah.
So you live not on the campus, but in the city?
Yeah, I moved to the city.
Yeah, but you lived here for 1 year.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we want. I mean, we want students to live here for their
the
first
first
year
year.
in their own building. And
Yeah.
after that, I mean, it's not a prison, right? So you're free to go if you
Yeah.
live on the campus. You live on a
Yeah.
different facility on the campus.
Yeah, I
right?
live in another Atlas housing that is offered,
Yeah.
which is a bit smaller than Drieneburg, but still usually has enough space for everyone.
Drieneburg is the name of our building.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the question is, the first year you live in this building and that serves then the community. If you like to stay, you can stay. If you like to move on to a different facility on campus or even in a city, then you can also do that. And I also learned that there are even Atlas houses in the city.
Yeah, I did.
So complete houses, fully filled Atlas students.
Yeah, it's just one goes, the other one gets in.
Yeah, oh yeah, that must be fun. Yeah. Yeah. And you said Elena was still typing?
Yeah, we also have some last questions about the degree that we receive.
Okay, so yeah.
So people ask, normally you would receive a bachelor in mechanical engineering if you major at mechanical engineering. How does that work for Atlas with the different profiles and different electives?
Good question. Yeah, good question. So what kind of degree do you actually get? Well, you get a Bachelor of Science degree from an engineering program. And of course, if you move on to do a master or even if you go on the job market, maybe what you did needs some explanation, but at least you have a real, truly academic degree with a civic value, a Bachelor of Science. But of course, because you do all these different things, you have to, you have to write a resume, what kind of courses you did. And after you get your diploma, you also get an overview of what you did in the program. But the diploma is worth a Bachelor of Science degree.
And I think what's kind of unique is that because of it's so interdisciplinary and can go in any direction, with this, you can really get to most masters. So you can do a master's in science, but I'm currently looking into masters, but you can also do master's in arts.
Yes, you can.
So like education, for example,
Yeah.
you can do, which I think is not very common in bachelor programs, especially on a technical university.
No, it isn't. No, we really value the personal development. That also means that you have to be able to continue with your education after your bachelor's, and there shouldn't be any stumble blocks for you. So we try to get rid of them as much as possible. And the open elective space in the program allows you to sort of prepare for your any masters. And I think more than 95% of students just immediately can just enter a master program. Some need to do a pre-master, but most of them just enter immediately. Yeah. Okay, so I think we need to stop here. If I look at my rights to the director here, or is there one urgent question still?
One last question is, are summer courses offered to high school students?
Oh, that's good ones. Our summer courses are offered. Well, the UT offers summer courses, if I'm not mistaken, but we as a program not. But if you want to come here and visit us, you're always welcome. You can, for example, apply for a student for a day, or just call me or Tivo or yours, and just hang out here for a couple of hours and just see what it's like. And that's also something I advise to everyone. If you want to know more about this program, experience it. So take any opportunity that you have to come here and to interact with teachers and with students. That's, I think, a good advice. And you're always free to come. Now we really need to stop. I think we have some final contact information on our last slide here. And remember this webinar is also recorded. So if you're not able to catch it right now, you can watch it later. So there are multiple opportunities to interact with us in our program. And let's say we welcome you to visit University College of Twente, that is program. You can also check the sources that are here. So I would like to thank you, World, for being here with us on this webinar. Also, thank you, Josefina, thank you, Tigo, and also Pleun behind the curtains here. And also our director, Marianne, who was always in the background, but was also very active during. And we say, well, goodbye and see you at UCT. Bye-bye.